are here with this Parag Naik sir. He from Saankhya Labs.
I'm from Saankhya Labs.
Thank you so much for talking to Prasar Bharati News Services. Given the context of today's conclave, sir, what are your thoughts on direct-to-mobile broadcasting?
It's indigenous made in India technology. It's first of its kind in the world. Like we discussed earlier, D2M is going to revolutionize delivery of content, delivery of video content especially, or any broadcast content, direct to consumers. Today, consumers are watching video on phones. Most of the things are consumed on phones. With this technology, they would be able to receive video content without having to pay for data plans. That's the simple one-line use case for consumers.
Yes, sir. Prasar Bharati CEO talked about the role of startup that is going to play a huge role in making this happen. What are your views on that, and how is Saankhya Labs going to aid the same?
So we are one of the startups that have brought in this new technology in line with the Prime Minister's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Startup India and all of that. So there are other startups also working on it, and since these are disruptive technologies, it's easier for a younger company, smaller company to come up with this than companies with a lot of legacy.
So what are the operational challenges when you're talking about 5G technology and making it direct to mobile? Because we are still on the verge of making it from the broadband perspective, we are making it large. How are we going to take it to the mobile phones and from the direct broadcasting point of view?
So we have a chip. We had designed and built a semiconductor chip that can receive Prasar Bharati or D2M content directly, bypassing the data plans, like I said. So operationalizing this needs for Prasar Bharati and other broadcasters to roll out the transmit infrastructures. Just like you got this tower in Pitampura and other places, you need to have a roll out of the infrastructure on the transmit side, and then having receiver ecosystems. Hopefully in a year or 2 years from now, a large phone ODM picks up this idea and embeds this chip into the phone, then you can directly get video other than your data plans. So that's the operational challenge right now that we see.
Is it the economy behind it also? The cost is going to be huge behind this. How are we going to ensure it is user-friendly and cost-effective for them also?
Correct. So for user-friendliness, I think there are tons of OTT platforms in India. We are a software powerhouse, and there's a lot of people these days who do UX or user experience services. So that's not an issue. The second one you spoke about very importantly is the cost to the consumer. Electronics is a function of volume, right? As the volumes pick up, as there's mass adoption, the costs come down, and we believe that the price points that we have, and since it's an indigenous technology, is much more competitive than other international products of the same type.
Yes, sir. So just one last question. We are talking about global convergence. How are we going to make that happen? And Saankhya Labs and other startups, how are they going to collaborate on that? India is already celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We are becoming Atmanirbhar Bharat. So on the global convergence level, how are we going to make that happen? And please also elaborate on the global standards also.
Sure. In fact, this is the first time ever in 75 years of our independence that we are debuting a technology parallelly with other countries in the world. In fact, we are ahead. In fact, the whole concept of D2M was coined by the Prasar Bharati CEO and us together. So in that sense, we are ahead of the game from the rest of the guys. We have been, as you would see in the conference, there are speakers from and participants from Korea, South Korea, from the US and other countries in the world. So we are collaborating with both large and small companies around the world to bring this technology in India and to other countries at scale. And India is not unique in that sense. There are other developing nations and also developed nations. I mean, countries like US also have problem of delivering remote education and distance learning. So this would be a very useful technology for them.
Yes, sir. Sorry, just one more thing popped in my mind. Manufacturing is a very critical part of making 5G happen in India. We are already trying to make India a semiconductor hub. What are your views on that, and how far we have reached, and what more we need to do?
So we are designing chips in India, and practically every semiconductor chip that's designed anywhere and that you use, anybody uses in India will have an Indian hand behind it. But it's been developed for foreign companies. So we are one of the first companies that is designing chips in India. However, we are still a step away from manufacturing semiconductors in India, building manufacturing at scale. But having said that, this government has actually come up with a very interesting PLI scheme to promote and grow the semiconductor manufacturing ecosystem in India. There have been a lot of announcements that have been made, and hopefully in the next 4-5 years, India would be a robust. We would have a robust ecosystem, and we play our part in the global supply chain for semiconductors.